Something is happening, my brothers and sisters. And it is happening right here in Buckley's. And I'm here to tell you, UPP no more than ever. Dr. Baldwin Spencer, no more than ever. Chandler Codrington, no more than ever, my brothers and sisters. A pleasant good night to each and every one of you. I begin by saying that my attention was drawn to a statement issued by the Antigua Labour Party under the hand of one Lester Bird in the Caribbean Times newspaper of the 28th of February 2014. The statement is captured, UPP has abused workers, including public servants. Minimum wage not increased in 10 years. I want to repeat this. This is a statement issued by the Antigua Labour Party under the pen of one Lester Bird. It is headed, UPP has abused workers, including public servants. Minimum wage not increased in 10 years. Permit me to just read 2 or 3 paragraphs of that statement. It begins by saying, public servants and the ordinary workers in Antigua and Barbuda has been carrying the burden of the UPP government over the last 10 years. Can you imagine that? From Lester Bird and the Labour Party. It continues. While the UPP has been taxing the people of this country and borrowing huge sums of money for wasteful projects, they have not raised minimum wage in this country. Can you believe that, brothers and sisters? It goes on. They have also not raised the wages and salaries of public servants in almost 10 years that they've been in office. This is what the Labour Party and Lester Bird is spewing out there. And I am here this evening to correct those lies. I am here this evening to set the record straight, because the Labour Party is known to be economical with the truth. And they spread all of these lies and deceit. I posit to you this evening, brothers and sisters, that it is the Labour Party, not the UPP, who has been abusive to workers in this country, especially the public servants. And I will tell you why I make that statement here this evening. Many of you must recall the whole issue of back pay to public servants in this country. You must remember that it was the Antigua Labour Party government in 1994 and in 1995 who sat down, negotiated, and agreed to pay public servants in this country certain increases. It was the Antigua Labour Party who again in 2000 and 2002 sat down with public servants and agreed to a further increase in wages and salaries of public servants, and also in travel and mileage allowance increases for public servants. I am here to tell you that not 1 penny of increase was given to any public servant since the promise in 1994 and in 1995 and again in 2000 and again in 2002. The Antigua Labour Party did what they do best: make and break promises. Just like the public servants' wage increases and paid nothing, similarly, they went and incurred debt and refused to repay any debt that they incurred. But I want to tell you, brothers and sisters, it was the United Progressive Party government under the leadership of Dr. Winston Baldwin Spencer when we came to office in 2004 that took on the mantle and the challenge of dealing with public servants in a respectful way in this country, brothers and sisters. You must recall, when we took office in 2004, there was nothing in the Treasury. The Labour Party could not pay wages and salaries. The Labour Party was in the process of beginning to lay off public servants in the thousands. But notwithstanding that, in December of 2004, your UPP administration paid $15 million in back pay to public servants in this country. We didn't leave it there. In 2005, brothers and sisters, it was your UPP government who implemented a 7% wage increase for all public servants in this country, an increase that was promised by the Labour Party since 2000 and was never implemented by the Antigua Labour Party. We didn't end there, brothers and sisters. And we said in 2006, we recognized the mounting back pay to public servants going back to 1994. And we said, we will pay public servants back pay of $32 million, and we will pay it over 2 years, 2006 and 2007. So my brothers and sisters, in 2006, December of 2006, the UPP administration paid public servants in this country back pay of $8 million. And then in 2007, my brothers and sisters, we paid the remaining $24 million, paying off the $32 million that had accrued to public servants since 1994 under the Labour Party administration, which administration paid not 1 red cent to any public servant. My brothers and sisters, again in 2007, it was this administration that implemented the 1994 increase in mileage and travel allowance to public servants. And it cost your government some $10 million in 2007 to implement the mileage and travel increase promise since 1994 to the public servants in this country, and not a red cent was paid under the Labour Party. My brothers and sisters, we did not leave it there. And in 2008, my brothers and sisters, it was your UPP administration that went again and paid public servants in this country a 10% increase right across the board, my brothers and sisters. That cost the government $30 million paid to public servants in 2008 as back pay. My brothers and sisters, we did not leave it there. And between 2007 and 2008, the United Progressive Party government would have given wage increases to a number of sectors within the public service. We gave the police, my brothers and sisters, a 23.5% increase. We gave custom officers a 33.33% increase. We gave the air traffic controllers, my brothers and sisters, a 36% increase. My brothers and sisters, when you add that up, this administration would have given public servants approximately $100 million in back pay and salary increases, all of which were due under the Antigua Labour Party, and not a dime was paid by that administration. And then they come now and have the gall to say that we abuse workers and we have no respect for workers, when they made all of these promises to public servants and never fulfilled one such promise, my brothers and sisters. And let us not forget, it was this administration that introduced the voluntary separation and early retirement program for public servants, which cost another $62 million, giving a total of approximately $162 million spent on public servants in this country, my brothers and sisters. And we say to you tonight that there is still over $100 million in back pay still owed to public servants from under the Labour Party regime. And I say to public servants in this country, we did it in 2004. We did it in 2005, in 2006, in 2007, 8, and 9. And we promise you, through the budget delivered by Brother Harold Lovell in 2014, that we will continue the back pay to the public servants, and we are going to eliminate the $100 million that is still outstanding to public servants in this country. I say to public servants, you have to put your faith in the United Progressive Party, because we have delivered for you. The Labour Party promised but never delivered. And you know, once you put your faith in us, we will come true as we have done in the past, my brothers and sisters in the public service of Antigua and Barbuda. I also want to address the issue of minimum wage, because the statement by the Antigua Labour Party says minimum wage not increased in 10 years. That is the statement, my brothers and sisters. Well, let us look at the facts. In 1998, minimum wage in this country was $5.25 per hour. In 1998. In January of 2003, the minimum wage was increased from $5.25 an hour to $6 per hour. That means, my brothers and sisters, there was a 14% increase, or some 75 cents increase per hour to the minimum wage. Then comes the UPP administration. And in January of 2008, it was the United Progressive Party administration that increased the minimum wage from $6 an hour to $7.50 per hour, my brothers and sisters, an increase of 25%, some $1.25 per hour increase, my brothers and sisters. And then they have the nerve to say, we never increase minimum wage in this country, when our increase was some $1.25 per hour, 25% increase to what was there. And you know, my brothers and sisters, I have news for all of you, because I'm sure you would recall that in February of 2013, I established the Minimum Wage Advisory Committee to advise me as Labor Minister in respect of recommendations vis-a-vis the national minimum wage, and to determine whether there should be any increase and whether we should have different levels of minimum wages depending on the sectors that you're working in. I wish to tell you that that committee consists of members of the private sector, employers. It consists of members of the unions representing workers in this country. It also consists of members of the government. And I want to tell you tonight that I will receive on Monday morning a copy of the report coming from the Minimum Wage Advisory Committee. Once I receive that report, I shall take it to the Cabinet of Antigua and Barbuda, and the Cabinet will pronounce on whatever recommendations are contained in the report from the Minimum Wage Advisory Committee. I don't know whether we will have any good announcement before the general elections, but I am optimistic that I will come back to this podium before the elections are called and give good news to the workers of this country, my brothers and sisters. So I ask you to hold on. Let the cabinet deliberate. But I believe we will have good news for you. My brothers and sisters, that's why I stand here this evening to say it is the UPP administration that has been fair to workers in this country, especially the public sector workers. And I am calling on all of them to recognize the good work and do what you have to do when the time comes, my brothers and sisters. My brothers and sisters, as I deliberate on the minimum wage, and as I deliberate on how public servants have been treated in this country, my attention was also drawn just a few days ago to an article that appeared in Barbados Today. And I'm sure many of you would have heard certain pronouncements on the radio by the same one, Lester Brian Bird. But let us analyze what he has to say, because what he said to the Barbados Today is very instructive of what the Antigua Labour Party will do if they regain office in this country. Let us see what he said. The article begins by saying, a former regional leader is warning that the retrenchment program being implemented in Barbados is just the tip of the iceberg, and many Caribbean states will have no choice but to begin sending home public sector workers as well. This is the man who said that the Labour Party are the lovers of public servants. This is the man who said that the UPP did nothing for public servants. And he goes on to say that thousands of public servants may have to be sent home. But my brothers and sisters, that should not come as a surprise to any of us, because we knew prior to the 2004 election, the Antigua Labour Party was going to send home at least 2,000 to 3,000 public servants if they won the general election. But what happened? The UPP took over, and not one public servant was sent home. Not one public servant was sent home. And we have gone through the most difficult recession that we have ever seen here. And notwithstanding that, not one public servant has been sent home. And I heard the gall of one Senator Chet Green coming on radio and saying he have document that the UPP can send home public servants if we win the election. We didn't do it then. And I said to Chet Green and company, we're not going to do it at all. This is the administration that public servants can trust. But I want to continue, brothers and sisters. Let us see what Lester Bird went on to say. He said, Bird admits that the sending home workers would have socio-political consequences, including higher unemployment, and could even cause citizens to take to the streets in protest. So he's saying socio-political consequences. You know, he loves them big words. Higher unemployment and unrest. Unrest, he's recognizing that. And then he goes on to say, but, said Bird, it's a decision that even the Antigua Labour Party, if it assumes office in the next general election, will be faced with. That is a diplomatic way of saying, if they win the election, home Jerome for most of you public servants. That is a diplomatic way of saying that. And I want to point out to you now, this whole notion of the elimination of personal income tax and where that is coming from. Because Lester Bird continues to speak to that issue in the interview he gave to the Barbados Today. Let us hear what he said. He said this, to get a handle on the situation, Bird is suggesting that the private sector in the region step up to the plate and fulfill its role of providing absorptive capacity to deal with dismissed workers. He already say he can dismiss you. And when he dismiss you, he's saying, go to the private sector. Go to the private sector. They're supposed to find work for you. And if you want, go on the street and march, demonstrate, do what you want to do. But in this government of the Labour Party, we're going to dismiss you. He continues. He says this. In the case of Antigua and Barbuda, Byrd explained, this process could be facilitated by the removal of the personal income tax and reducing other taxes that could free up at least $40 million that would be pumped back into the economy. So what is Lester Byrd saying? He is saying that when they reduce or remove the personal income tax, is home Jerome for public servants in this country. But we told you that. We told you they can't eliminate personal income tax and continue to run the country in the way the country's run now. Something must give. And this is what is given, because he said to you, remove personal income tax, but home Jerome for all them public servants in this country. He continues, he says, government in turn would not be affected because it would be spending less money on wages and salaries. Can you imagine that? Government will not be affected because it would be spending less on wages and salaries. What are the obvious implications? There must be, brothers and sisters, that if the Antigua Labour Party gets to office in this country, is home Jerome for most of the public servants in this country. I say to you, brothers and sisters, you have a great government. You have a great political leader in the leadership of the Honorable Dr. Winston Baldwin Spencer. And the political leader has a great team around him. A great team of dynamic women following Dr. Winston Baldwin Spencer. What a wonderful job they did on that Serpent Show on Saturday. Those are the people you must vote to represent you in the parliament of this country, my brothers and sisters. And then you have a wonderful set of male candidates who will do you proud. So I say to all of you, stand firm for a third term. Stand firm for a third term. Stand firm for a third term. UPP all the way. UPP all the way. UPP all the way. Until I come again, brothers and sisters, have a good evening.